Good morning and happy Monday, guys, already. So, this morning we're going to go over math number one, so mean, median, and mode. Just quick reminder, I wrote this in the email on Friday, but the other assignment, the fourth math assignment, can be done at any point this week. You can break it up throughout the week. It's just some multiplication and division facts, 1 through 12. So it's just great practice for you guys. You can do it any point again. You don't have to wait till Thursday. Doesn't need to be timed or anything. It's just good practice for you. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just get started with mean, median, and mode. This is something that's really important. It really helps us with our lesson that we'll have on Wednesday as well. So it's a good thing. And then tomorrow on Tuesday for volume, it's really a review of something that you did in fifth grade. So, today and Wednesday are kind of our big lessons. And then Tuesday, tomorrow is kind of our review, and then that multiplication and division is a lot of review. So kind of trying to make it a little bit lighter on you guys. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to share with you my screen with you. Share these notes. Alrighty. So here we have our mean, median, mode notes. So there's actually two different types on Google Classroom or in the packet online, or that I emailed out in the PDF, or if you picked up a packet, they're a little different. I made these because I felt like they were just a little bit more simple to understand. It took out a lot of the craziness from them and made it a little bit more straightforward. So we're going to go over this, and then I'll show a couple of problems on the worksheet as well. So mean, median, and mode are three different things. They sound very similar. And one of the hardest things is just remembering what each one is. And to be honest, it's taken me a really long time. Obviously, you learn this all throughout school, but it was always really hard because you would learn it like at one point during the year and with like a year in between each time. Sometimes it was like, wait a second, I have to like go back into my brain and grab this information out. So the hardest one we're going to start with, which is mean, which is kind of funny because it's, I guess, a little mean that it's the hardest one. Mean is actually finding the average of a data set of numbers. Okay, so this is what I do when I'm trying to find out the average of your test scores or the average of our class test scores. So this is used a ton in life, which is kind of nice because it's something that's very straightforward and helpful. Mean is used in almost every single occupation or job out there, so it's really helpful to have. So basically the way that you find the mean or the average is you're going to add all the numbers up and divide by the number of elements. Okay, so the first thing I have here is this is your data set. Your data set are the numbers 2, 5, 9, 3, and 5. So basically to find the number of elements, okay, you just count how many numbers are there listed here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. So that's the number of elements. Now to find the mean or the average, you're going to add all these numbers up and then divide it by the total number, the total elements there are. So we'd do 2 plus 5 plus 9 plus 3 plus 5, which ends up turning into 24. Divide that by 5, and your mean or average is 4.8. When you're doing this, the division part, it is okay if you need to use a calculator because you're going to get a decimal a lot of the time. I'm less worried about you doing the actual division. I just want you to practice adding things together and then dividing them by that number of elements. Okay? So that's how you find average. And basically what that tells you is that's the average of all of these numbers. Okay, so you might have someone that's really on the low end with a 2, someone that's on the really high end of a 9, but kind of trying to find that middle, that average is going to be about a 4.8, okay? So moving on to median, this one's a little bit more simplistic. You're going to rewrite the data set from least to greatest, and then the number in the middle is the median. So again, we have the same data set, 2, 5, 9, 3, and 5. We're going to reorder it from least to greatest, so starting with 2, then 3, then 5, then 5 again, and then 9. And then we have to find the number in the middle, okay? Because that's what the median is. So the easiest way to do this is I am going to, there we go, there's my annotate. I forgot that I can change the color. This is gonna be so nice. Okay, let's go with this color. All right, so what you can do is I would always go like, okay, here's a number and here's a number. There's the first two. Then this one matches up with this one. And then you find out that in the middle, all that's left is that 5 right there, okay? So that helps a ton. And then that tells you that your median is gonna be 5. And that just kind of helps you see what that should look like. Let's see, move this out of the way. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. All right, so down here for the mode, it's just the numbers that show up the most. So you look at the data set, there's 2 5s, so the mode is 5. That's what's really nice about it. It's pretty, that's the most like straightforward one. Now you have 2 numbers that both show up 2 times, you write both of them. 5 and say it's 2. That's it. That's all. So I'm gonna leave this up for a second just so you can see it. This is a great time to pause. If you wanna pause and kind of work through a couple problems on your own, I am going to start sharing the worksheet in a moment. Exit out of, I guess I have to exit out of annotation. Yeah. All right, we're going to stop the share there. Okay, now I'm going to share the worksheet that we have. Okay, so here we go. Righty, there we are. So we're going to do the very first one together up here. Okay, 5, 9, and 4. Super straightforward, right? Super straightforward. Okay, only 3 numbers. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find the mean. Okay, we're going to find that mean. So I'm going to be honest with you, I'm getting my calculator out so that I can triple check that I'm adding correctly, because sometimes under pressure on video, it's a little bit different. So again, to find the mean, you're going to have to do 5 plus 9 plus 4 equals, and you should end up getting 18. Yes, you should. Oh my gosh. Alrighty, now we have to divide that 18 by the number of elements there are, which there's 1, 2, 3 elements. There's 3 numbers there. So we're going to divide that by 3. And 18 divided by 3 gives us 6. So that means our mean, or our average, is 6. Nice that it's not a decimal. It's really, that's the time you don't really need your calculator. You can do a lot of it in your head. I know it's nice. Sometimes I like to use a calculator after I've calculated things, even if it's really simple, just to double check, because under pressure, I have a tendency to panic a little. Already for the median now, that's that number in the middle. We have to order it first, least to greatest, okay? So we do 4, 5, and then 9. So we have to find that number in the middle, which it's really easy to see with only 3 numbers, which is nice. So if you need to, you can cross out the ones on the sides, and that just leaves you with 5. So our median is going to be 5. All right. And what's interesting about this problem is there's one of each number. So our mode, the one that shows up the most, is actually going to be all three of them because they all three show up the most. Now, sometimes the answer keys for mode will say none because none of them show up the most. So you just either answer is okay. It really ends up depending on kind of how often this happens. This doesn't happen a ton. If you're thinking of something like in the future, doing like the CAS test next year and stuff, they really never give you one where there's only one of each number. There's always going to be a mode if they're asking for it. So it's kind of funny that like some random generations give you one of each number because it's like that's not really what that's happening, and that's not what you're really looking for with the mode. But that's okay. So sometimes they'll write none as the answer. Sometimes they'll write all three numbers are the answer. Either way is fine. Both are acceptable. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and do number 2 because it's got a lot more numbers in the data set, and that will really help us kind of practice how to reorder them and all of that. And then from there, you guys should be able to be experts at this point on this already. So for the mean, again, we're going to add up all of these numbers. So you don't have to write it out in an addition problem if you don't want to. I did up here just so that you could really see what that is. But here I'm just gonna add them together. So 3 plus 2 is 5, 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 7 plus another 8. So we should get 21 there. So again, I just kind of added them together the way I want to. If you need to go like 5, 9, and so on, that's totally fine. But we should get 21 is the total here. Now we have to count the number of elements. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. These are turning out to be really beautiful. So we get to do 21 divided by 7, which we know because we totally know our math facts is 3. All right, so that means our mean is 3. The average number that would show up would be 3. Now, we're going to rewrite these numbers from least to greatest in order to find our median. So we're going to start with 1, then 2, there's another 2. I hate writing 2s on this thing. There's a 3, there's 2 4s, put a comma between, and then a 5. All right, so moving from the outside in, okay, to find that middle one. So outside, outside, next outside, next outside, next outside, next outside. Oh, would you look at that? The median is 3, the one that's left in the middle, okay? And then the last thing is looking through here, what number shows up the most? For the mode, there's actually 2. The number 2 shows up twice, and the number 4 shows up twice. So you would just write 2 and 4. Okay? So this is just really great practice with some addition, some division, reordering numbers. This is why least to greatest is such a helpful skill. So that is your expectation for today, Monday. Right? Again, tomorrow you're going to be doing volume, and then Wednesday we're going to be tackling kind of a big thing with quartiles. So that'll be a fun time. You are going to be using median a ton with that, so be sure you're really practicing that aspect, okay? Again, as always, let me know if you have any questions, okay? That'll be really helpful for you. And I'm here, and just reach out if you need anything. All right, let's go ahead and stop sharing this, and I hope you guys have a wonderful Monday and that you had a wonderful weekend. I know this is really strange, but I hope these videos are a lot more helpful. I feel like last week I got a lot less questions, so I'm hoping that just means that they're a lot more straightforward. And then starting next week and the weeks after that, we're really going to just practice on a lot of review stuff. So just know that that's what's coming forward. This is really the last week where you're going to have new lessons. You're going to start having in the next few weeks. I'm really just going to focus on those skills that you guys just need to practice. Things like math facts, multiplication, multi-digit multiplication, multi-digit division, all of those little pieces that are just really important to really have a solid foundation in. And we don't usually get the time to practice that in school just because we're learning so many new things. So this is really our last week of that. So just keep in mind that that's what's coming up in math. And yeah, so I look forward to seeing you guys on our Zoom call this week. We might try to do one Tuesday and Thursday since we didn't have one last week. I'm sorry about that. So just keep an eye out for those emails. Alrighty, have a great day, everyone.